Conan, what is best in life?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
That is good.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Oh, hello. You probably already saw me anyway. It's okay. Heroes for Hire Comic Club, Matt. Thanks for showing up again, true believers. It's fun to have you here. We have a good friend of mine here today, all the way from the great state of Washington. My friend from the North Country. I guess the capital of grunge. That's what we used to call it. But I'm getting old. Anyway, it's Psychotronic Squirt Gun.
What's up, Matthew?
You get old when you talk about the old days and the grunge. I remember when it was all cutting edge, right?
Yeah. Well, that's happened in Seattle there, and I'm originally from Connecticut, man. So, dang, dude. So what's up, man? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, dude. You know.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. If anybody is watching, I put Aaron's. If you're not already subscribed to him, I got his, and we'll put his link in the. I'll put the link in the comments. This is one of my first friends I ever made.
On the white.
You and Rob are the first people I met on here.
Yeah, that's a blast, man. Good memories for sure. You know. What up, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff. How you doing, man? See, I'm still learning everybody's name because I'm bad for calling people by their username.
Yeah, that's all good, dude. Jeff's been around for a while. That's why we got Missing Mars. Yeah, dude. How did I end up in Washington? Wow.
We'll let him take the first question since he asked.
How I ended up in Washington was that I packed up my little Geo Metro that I had back in like 1997, and I freaking went across the country. I took I-90 and I grabbed all the comics I had too. I had some good stuff, man. Amazing Spider-Man. I was mostly a Marvel guy, you know? Yeah. And I went across the country. I had a friend that lived in the Seattle area, north of Seattle, and so I came out here. Never looked back.
The rest is history, as they say, I guess.
The rest is history.
What is your comic book collecting origin story? Like, how did you get started? Were you on a distant planet, and the planet was dying, and your parents shot you off in outer space? You landed on Earth, raised in Kansas, and is that what happened, or what?
Well, I heard when I was born that the UFO, there was a UFO that was hovering above the hospital in Derby, Connecticut. Yeah. And ever since then, people didn't like me. So it's been tough. It's been really tough. But no, my comic book thing is when I was a kid, I was living in Ansonia, Connecticut. And I have super vague memories of this, but in 1977, I was reading Amazing Spider-Man comics, dude. And I didn't even know what numbers they were until I reread Amazing Spider-Man about 20 years ago. I reread the first 20 years. And when I was doing that, I had this eerie feeling that I've been there before, especially around issue 166, where the Stegron and Lizard and the Dinosaur Museum thing. It was just that eerie feeling that I was there.
Yeah.
So I was about 6 years old, man. And I was reading Amazing Spider-Man comics. And that's how I got into it. And I still feel like I've been indoctrinated from that period. How I started collecting, I obviously stopped reading and then it was the early 80s. Around 82, 83, it was like the beginning of Jim Shooter era.
Yeah.
And those covers are so freaking awesome. There was even before, like Bill Sienkiewicz did Thor, even before his abstract style. And there was Deathlock covers on Captain America and stuff like that. And
the Wolverine series coming out.
Yeah. This was before Frank Miller even did the volume 1. I remember volume 1 coming out. So I was always in and out of comics, but I remember Spidey, of course, Nothing Could Stop the Juggernaut. I think that's what got me back in the Will-o'-the-Wisp saga and the Hobgoblin saga.
Yeah.
All that stuff, man. That is my bread and butter.
Did you like the stuff in the 200s, like the when John Romita Jr. was doing it? I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, John Romita Jr. came on. Yeah, a little bit before Roger Stern. He was drawing, and so my classic John Romita Jr. Roger Stern era is like I said, that's old right there. I still don't have the first appearance of Hobgoblin. I used to have it. But I don't have the original. I need to get that. So
I used to have 250, which was like him. They're in a bunch of surrounded by flames, fighting each other.
Yeah,
fighting the Hobgoblin. That's and he's got, at the top of the box corner. It says, "Steal this book."
Yeah, steal it. That's right. Steal it. Yeah, and what a freaking cool what an epic ending. Because I remember the fight in that Hobgoblin car, and just the look on in 251, I think it was, just the look on Hobgoblin's face that Spidey wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop coming after him. You know what I mean? And Hobgoblin was ahead of him, one step ahead of him for like a couple years in Stern's run. You know, and he finally caught up to him before Secret Wars happened, right? Freaking gold, man. That's my favorite era of Spidey right there.
Another book of mine that I wish I had back is Wolverine and Spider-Man. And you find out that Ned Leeds is like this, gets killed in it, right?
Yep.
And they find out he's the Hobgoblin or something.
Yep. Well, yeah. So what happened was Roger Stern never wanted Ned Leeds to be the Hobgoblin. His run got cut short due to the editorial from Stan Lee that Spidey was going to get married, right? Spidey needs to get married. Roger Stern disagreed with that, so he left. And he still had a couple more years on Amazing Spider-Man. I wish he stayed.
Can you imagine where he would have went if he hadn't had to leave, or it felt like he had to leave?
Yeah, because it would make sense why Roderick Kingsley is the Hobgoblin, right? That would make sense, right? When he revealed that, he came back in the 90s and revealed that, people are like, who cares? You know, it was like the end of like the Clone Saga. Yeah. People are like, whatever, this is just, you know,
like they kind of like sometimes kill their own book momentum.
Yeah.
You know, like, or you like, there's all kinds of things they do that, like, that's why a lot of the artists and writers are just going to other companies now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
They tell you what to do, what you can't do.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. I hear a lot of the artists left DC, went with Jeff Johns and to Image and all that stuff.
Yeah, they lost Brian Hitch, Frank left. And like some of the writers, they're writing for maybe sometimes 3 companies. Sometimes, you know. I know Tinian does stuff with Image, but he's done stuff with DC. He hasn't done it in a while. He may have quit too.
Yeah,
him and Tinian and Jeff Johns did a lot. I won't be surprised if Tom King doesn't leave at some point.
Yeah. Well, Remender left Marvel to sign an exclusive Image contract.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he did. But now look all of his.
I bet he wouldn't have signed that exclusive now.
Roger, what's up, man?
Hey, Bedrock. He signed that exclusive. I wonder if he kind of regrets that now.
I don't know, because all these years of him just generating his own ideas. I think also, even though I don't think it was widely known, but when he was writing Uncanny X-Force, I think the editorial got involved with his pacing because he didn't want to reveal the Dark Angel saga. He didn't want to reveal it right away. He wanted to have that lingering a little bit more longer. And I agree with Rick Remender, because that early freaking Uncanny X-Force was amazing. Freaking amazing.
The Uncanny Avengers, the first volume he did of that.
Yeah. With John Cassidy.
Yeah, it's a fun ride. Him and John Cassidy together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's what made me like John Cassidy. Cool. And I'm saddened that like he's not around anymore, but me too. I wish they could have done more with it though. Because they had all this. Then the volume 2 they had was all right, but they had that thing with like Rogue and Deadpool was in love with her.
Yeah. Yeah, they had some ideas, right, with Rogue finally doing like a Wolverine power, right, with the claws coming out and stuff like that. I never saw that before. And I guess Rick Remender was an incredible Uncanny X-Men fan. You know, so he had a lot of plans, but I guess editorial kept messing with him. And plus, with Uncanny Avengers, the art wasn't consistent. You know, he went from John Cassidy to another name.
Austin would be in there or something.
Yeah.
I kind of like some of Austin's work.
Yeah,
let's see. I love some good issues that he did. You know, and of course, you had, like, if you think about what it was like in the 80s, imagine like going to the bullpen there and like seeing Claremont and Mike Beck and all these guys. Herb Trimpe was still there.
Yeah.
John Romita Jr., Frank Miller.
Early 80s is awesome.
Yeah, all those guys. That would have been cool. I think a few drugs were done in that. John Byrne, I bet a few drugs were done in that. That's when I was a kid, you know, like John Byrne doing Fantastic Four, you know. Yeah.
I loved it, you know, and then I don't know if I had a cognizant recognition of it, but like I started going to flea markets in the late 80s with my friends collecting, you know, we call them flea markets, and there was a comic book dealer there, and I had some pulls in the late 80s. But those comics were good, but it just they're not as good as the early 80s, in my opinion, you know, overall. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, the early 80s was like, you know, you had like, we were talking about like the early, like 81, 82, 83.
Yeah.
You had G.I. Joe comic come out. You had the Daredevil where Frank Miller was like doing the thing where Elektra dies.
Yep.
Wolverine series was coming out that he had wrote.
Yeah.
And then Chris Claremont wrote. And then you had John Byrne doing some cool stuff. And
those were the days.
Even back then, he was actually, you know, although I've argued that I know him and Frank Miller get a lot of hate now because of their variants and stuff they show or whatever, their new modern.
Oh yeah, with Frank Miller is controversial now.
One coming out this week, he lived with a Daredevil.
Yeah,
it wasn't too bad. Probably because he didn't show his face.
Yeah,
you know,
I am reading slowly the Frank Miller issues on Daredevil currently, and I love it. You know, the stuff he started off just drawing was cool. Yeah. I love that classic Frank Miller style.
I don't actively search for them, but if I run across them, I get them.
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way, but because I'm trying to get the G.I. Joe thing. But the whole storyline is amazing. You got
I have them all too. I think.
Bullseye and a psychopath. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Bullseye really got developed during the Frank Miller run. You know, and even the writer before Frank Miller, when he was just drawing, there was a cool Black Widow story there where he's like strangling her with a freaking hairdryer. Yeah, that is freaking amazing.
I also like the era when they had the Black Widow with Daredevil.
Yeah, that's the 70s there. Yeah. I guess during that time they did that with multiple titles in which they would pair up a popular superhero with one they wanted to promote. You know?
Well, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. And so I kept. Did you want to? So I kept going in and out of comics. So in the late 80s, I was collecting, and then high school hit. I remember grabbing Punisher Volume 2 and Wolverine Volume 2, both issues #1 off the spinner rack, right? And I remember my friends freaking roasting me, dude. They were giving me a freaking hard time, man. That was back in like 87, 88. I forget which year. And I started not liking them as much anyway. And so around when Todd McFarlane first started doing Amazing Spider-Man, I didn't really, I knew it was good, but I didn't like it that much because I liked the earlier classic Spidey more. So I jumped out, and during the 90s, I would come back in a little bit for like Apocalypse, X-Men story, Age of Apocalypse. I came in for that a little bit. I definitely was in during the late 90s. I always collected the Spidey stuff when I saw it. Then I was out again and then I came back like I think like 2006 or 7, and I've been in ever since. So hey, Damien, what's up, man? Appreciate you.
I've had the same experience. Like, start out, then you start learning how to drive a car.
Yeah.
And you go out with girls, and I forget comics for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then get back into it. That's just the way,
Yeah.
usually goes. What do you, okay, I can't read that. Hold on. You think I know this one. But what do you like about it? What do you like about the hobby? What are some things you like, and what are some of the things you don't like?
Well, there's an irrational happiness, an irrational like love, probably because of when I was a kid, that I was of just having that book in your hand and the art and all of that, And now I love the hobby because I generally go after the older stuff that I missed in the 70s, and I love organizing them. I love reading them. I love that. I love the Marvel universe that's so intertwined over decades. Before it got really bad by the 90s, it was really good for like 2.5, 3 decades, right? Of just all these stories and awesome art, And, what do I dislike about it? I don't know. I tend not to judge how other people collect comics. I don't judge it. I don't put my mind on, what I dislike about, the.
That's a good way to be. That's a good life, right?
Yeah. So I only grab stuff that I like now, and I haven't really been buying newer comics lately.
I may be reading mine digitally for a while and just kind of focus on some stuff that's like, look here, we got Adamantium says, I have a comics blind spot from the 90s to around 2000. I do too. If I see some old Ghost Rider or something, it's going to get put in my hand, like some Shakira or something like that. Or if I see like a Spawn comic,
when I came back to comics about 2006 and on, I was enjoying it, and I kept enjoying it. But what I didn't realize until much later was that the era of 2000 to about 2004, there's like a really sweet spot in Marvel. And so I try to grab all that stuff where I could find it too,
Oh, you had Brubaker doing Captain America at that time period.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Uncanny Avengers. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool, dude. The Uncanny Avengers, that came a little later after the Uncanny X-Force. And then 2008, I hit some hard times, and I had to sell. Okay, I lost my house, and I was living with my wife somewhere else. Didn't have a job. It was a tough time, 2008, and I kept reading them. I kept reading them digitally, as you say. But I had an amazing Spider-Man run from the 70s all the way to that time. All the way through like Brand New Day or something. But I sold them. I had to sell them. So, but I'm getting them back now. Even though 300 is really hard now, it's ridiculous. 300.
It's one of the most overpriced books out there. People see it.
They printed enough of those.
I know. Well, but people see that, they get that book and they think they can sell it for $700.
Yeah, it sucks.
And somebody said, Metarock said, I gave up on Marvel after Onslaught, but came back for a bit after Avengers JLA, but never came back for the new stuff. Well, you know what, Metarock, you hear that a lot. People, after that, I was just done.
Yeah, a lot of the 90s was too much for me, although I was coming back for Spidey. I just missed most of the Clone Saga, but I came at the tail end, and I thought, wow, this is a cool, a fresh start for Spidey. It's actually Ben Reilly now, and I liked it. And then they killed him, and I was like, whoa, Green Goblin's back. But then it was very anticlimactic how they used Norman Osborn. when Green Goblin came back after 20 years of being dead. You should have just had him being savage, ripping through Peter's life.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. He was all behind the scenes, pulling the strings and stuff.
Yeah, that's how they do it. I mean, they did it with the last time. I remember I quit reading it.
Yeah.
It's hard to rebuy something that you get cheap, and now it's overpriced. Yeah, well, that's after the pandemic. They had the pandemic prices, and they're kind of coming down now. And the whole business is probably going to change. A lot of people are thinking that all those ratio variants that Diamond had.
Yeah.
They sold out to another group, and they're probably going to be like pennies on the dollar. They're probably going to just release all of them.
Wow.
And I hope they just go back to having. It's okay to have a cover B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do we need cover A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K?
Well, now you're talking Dynamite, right?
Yeah, Dynamite. Yeah. I do that review thing where we go preview all the new comics, and every week Dynamite's going to have 37 variants for Thundercat. You know what I mean? It's insane. I just don't think that can. You know what I mean? I think that's going to collapse on itself. I don't think that can hold forever. I think it may change a little bit the way we collect them.
I hear the quality is getting better with Dynamite, and so maybe they've gotten the message. But during this hard time for smaller publishers, we'll see what happens.
It's you never know what's going to happen, but it's the way it goes. Well, now, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it right now, and it's going to do what it's going to do, right? So,
but Damian, thanks for being here, dude. It was fun hanging out with you a couple of weeks ago. That was good.
Damian, I appreciate everybody that's here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this question. When did you decide you were going to start doing a YouTube channel about comic books or whatever? I mean, or just start a YouTube channel in general? Were you just you know what, I'm going to just do it, or did you plan it out?
Well, I think what happened was I've been doing this for a little over 2 years now, and it's about 2 years and 2 months now, and I was watching comic calls, right? And what really turned me on was the comic book junkie, Don, the comic book junkie, because he would go to a flea market and just grab all what he was in love with and just show it like no one's business, he wasn't playing around. And then it was over. So it was like a 10-minute video, and all he did. So it was like my first experience with comic book hauls, and I'm like, dude, I could do that, I should totally do that just for fun. And so I did that, and the first video got a lot of views because I was going around to everyone saying, "Yay, it's my first video!" Yay! And no one knew who I was, and they checked it out, man. And I did that. I dropped videos for 2 times a week on the same time, But then I got burnt out on that, But that's my YouTube how I got here. But now I love YouTube because I can use it for other things. I just love the networking. I love the numbers. I really like the numbers, just like everyone else. Wow, big views. Wow, subscribers, right? But it's more like just meeting people who are into this stuff. That because we're all like loners, I think, like introverted people. I'm very introverted, even though I don't seem it. But this has kind of opened me up a little bit,
I don't. Is somebody actually talking, or is it just background noise? Because there's a lot of loud noise going on.
I don't have anyone. Yeah.
There's a lot of noise going on next to me, but I don't know. Really nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah.
Tell Corey I said hi. Tell your mom I said hi.
Oh.
Hello,
Miss Cora.
I recognize your last voice.
Thank you. You're gonna make me blush.
Anyway, okay. Thanks, Mom.
Nice, nice.
I just wanted to highlight this. I like learning about cool book storylines I wasn't aware of.
Yeah,
and check them out. Yeah, like some people might not know about something that I know about. And they might know something about something that I don't know about or never read.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot from like Metarog and Damien Sleepy Reader, and I love now, like I always knew about Jim Starlin, of course, but now I'm going back and getting that Warlock stuff and Captain Marvel and just loving it. You know what I mean? And Master of Kung Fu from the 70s. I didn't know how sophisticated the stories were in the 70s because I grew up on like Marvel Tales, Spidey, and I like it, but it's kind of the way Stan. I still like it, you guys. I still love it, but I made an assumption about it that it was a little more bubblegum. But 70s is not. 70s it grew as the audience got older. You know,
the 60s. Some of the language I've read. I used to have a collection of the first 15 or 20 issues of Avengers or something. It's one of those collector issues.
Yeah,
and some of the dialogue in the early issues a little much.
Right, yeah. But I love there's golden moments of that Spidey era with Ditko, like heaving up all that, all that debris, like I did it, like there's that was like amazing. I think that's 33, Amazing Spider-Man 33. That might be one of the greatest Spidey stories ever for me. Like he just won't give up. They
kind of use that in that Spider-Man movie, Homecoming.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah,
the roof up or whatever.
Yeah,
I like what they're saying. But we had go check this out.
We got a lot of voices in our head here.
You saw like Missy Mar said, voices in your head. Okay, are okay as long as they are your voice. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it's like when you go to sleep,
voices in your head are okay.
When you go to sleep and you're dreaming, there's voices in your head, right? It happens with everyone. So when you're drifting off to sleep, sometimes you get to that twilight area, So I love YouTube because they say to have two different things on YouTube. So I have the comic book thing, and I also have this ongoing story that I'm creating too, via song. And I'm doing something crazy. It's going to take forever to do, but I'm slowly building this world, and I'm really happy about that. So put it out on YouTube.
That's awesome. You can put it on SoundCloud too or something.
Yeah. The music might not be to everyone's liking, but I love like Velvet Underground. I love Guided by Voices, old Beatles, like demos and stuff, and old Bowie, David Bowie. And that's the type. So I like that demo-y sound, that edgy sound. And I'm telling the story. Every song is from a character's perspective, and they all link up. They all link up into the sci-fi world. It's like an X-Files meets Twin Peaks meets Star Wars,
Yeah, and it's got. I like the last one you did. It's kind of like this is kind of like a continuation of that in a way.
Yeah,
Januaries.
The Januaries are fun. Yeah, those are like every day on January you got to release a song, and so some of the songs I had just words on paper. And other songs I had nothing, so it's something from nothing,
That's
awesome. And it's quite an exercise, and a lot of it I liked. And you got to publish it, you got to show it, So it's humbling.
Yeah, just get it out. Nowadays, you get anything you want out.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm going to have an album coming out. I think in about 3 weeks, I'm going to release an album. And then after that, I'm going to go back and tweak the older songs because when I was starting, they were all in different. They were in the wrong key, a lot of them, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But that's how you do it, you guys. You just get in and you freaking do it, no matter what. You just do it. And then years later, now I'm understanding things, so I got to go back and fix stuff before I release it on YouTube. So that's going to be a process too.
Then you got a question.
Grand thematic interconnected albums. Have you written or self-published a comic before? Will one comic with a future album? That's the whole thing too, because this story is like a big sci-fi story that is ongoing like a comic book would be. And hopefully I could find an artist someday and we could do a comic book. But I never created a comic book, but I want to.
Wouldn't it be cool to but in a cool way, not like the Black Cat way, make an album that went along with you can read this, you can listen to this album.
Yeah.
While you read along to this comic book.
Yeah. Well, the lyrics of one song is telling the story of a character, and then the next song it's like prose more than poetry. And because I like Guided by Voices, and Bob Pollard pretty much taught the whole world how to write a song, as far as I'm concerned. I'm doing this crazy thing that's going to take years to complete. So, hey, Kenneth Bird's here. What up, Mr. Bird? Thanks for being here, dude. Yeah, you've been seriously learning to draw, and you are right. Yeah, just do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. I'm no spring chicken, but I'm just gonna do it. I mean, I've been in bands before, but now I don't play out. I don't even practice an instrument. I have an instrument here but we have all this technology. Why not do it, you guys?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they can get something out cheaper now. Back in the day, you would have had to use make your own, like the punk rock stuff. They used to make their own fanzine.
Yeah.
They would get a cheap record press. They would press their own records.
Yeah.
Set them at the back of their car.
And the kids are still doing that, but
yeah.
I already lived that life. I don't need to do that. I'm happy staying home and being a dork. I enjoy it.
I just mean you have to work harder to get your music out there, though, I think.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy the connections because I'm finding other introverted people like me who have similar tastes in movies and TV, like you and Joe doing your bad cinema. That reminds me of my friend Matt.
We had a garage band when I was younger too.
Cool, dude.
Yeah, we thought we had a 4-track recorder. We thought we were hot shit.
That was high tech. It was high tech. 8-track recorder.
We had a drum machine. That was our percussion. That was
I think the Beatles only had an 8-track or a 4-track when they did Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, they would double the tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
They did all kinds of stuff to
bounce it down. It down. They had engineers do that. They didn't do that.
That's what George Martin, was that his name?
Yeah. He's considered a 5th Beatle.
Yeah, and he had a great it's Abbey Road Studios. It's a legend now.
Yeah. And what you can do now with sound is incredible, you guys. You can really emulate the older stuff. You can. And I'm just happy. It's amazing the technological era we're in. Of course, I have concerns just like everyone else about AI and certain things, but why not just utilize what we got and just create stuff, Just do it.
Well, the stuff that people create, I think will always, I don't know. I think you'll most of the time be able to tell.
Well, Matt, we're the new underground, dude.
Yeah.
We're the new underground, right? Us are, dorks just streaming and having fun together. It's like a true underground,
Yeah. He said he had a Pearl export kit in his bedroom with a queen bed and a giant stereo of all my comics. You barely.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
I relate to that, dude.
Heck, you can barely walk in here now with the comics. I used to play. I don't have a guitar anymore, but I used to play. But I'm a frustrated guitar player. I'll just put it that way.
Well, I'm a strummer. I don't noodle around.
No, I can't.
I'm a strummer.
I can't noodle.
Yeah.
I can maybe break out a couple of power chords.
Yeah. The bands I was in, one I was a rhythm guitar player and singer, and the other one I was just a vocalist in Seattle. That was good times. But you also didn't you go to school for recording?
Yeah, I was in Nashville, Tennessee for 2 years.
What was that like?
Oh, it was pretty interesting. You get to learn. We worked with a 48-track. We had a Studer console, like the one they had at Sound Studios in Hollywood, and we had one called a Neve, which is like a 32 or might even be more tracks than that, 24, 30. It's something that's huge.
Wow.
Take the whole room. It like gives off heat. And you learn how to use 2-inch tape.
And you had all those tracks that you were.
Yeah, and then we even learned how to edit, like how you edit on tape.
Wow.
We learned like animation stuff and Cubase. We learned all like synth stuff and like MIDI engines and all that stuff.
Yep.
And,
Now it's all on your computers.
Yeah, and it was a fun time. We had even learned how to make my own microphone cables.
Wow, cool, dude.
So they kind of covered the whole thing because I think, and we interned there for a while, but I didn't really run into any celebrities or nothing. Just kind of, I didn't stay long enough. I got in a car wreck and lost my car, so I had to move home.
Oh, so that stopped. You were in it to be a recording engineer, right?
Yeah.
But then you got into a car accident?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got ran over by an 18-wheeler, basically.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's feel like I'm interviewing myself now. So
I don't care, man. This is your show. I love it. I love it.
Hit me, and I was going under the trailer, and the back wheel got locked in with my car, and about ran over me.
Holy freak.
The wheels locked up, and we slid to a halt. I didn't really get hurt at all.
Holy.
Yeah, you did. You had a big guy.
I had a big gash in but it was superficial.
Yeah. Compared to what could have happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got lucky.
Dang,
It was
dude.
one of those accidents. I don't know if you ever been in a car wreck like that.
I've been in some wrecks, man.
Have you ever been in one where you think this is it? I'm dead.
No.
This is that kind of wreck.
Wow.
I don't know how he didn't kill me, but I'm
You don't know how you got out of it.
No, unless
this
something was watching over me. You know what I mean? Some higher power.
Yeah, dude.
Something. Yeah, that was years ago, but it was scary.
You know, this ain't nothing like what you just said, but one day I was driving at night, and I'm a kid, and I see the railroad lights flashing. And normally you have arms coming down, right? You can't get, there's no arms. But I saw the light and I said, I might as well stop. So I stopped.
Oh,
in that freaking second, dude, I would have been a goner. In that one moment, I decided to stop. Isn't that crazy?
What if you decided to go?
And I was like, because I was a dumb kid thinking I could just drive anyway, even though there were no arms coming down to protect me.
Oh yeah.
Dang, dude.
The track, yeah, that's you would have been creamed, man. There's no way.
That my number would have been punched, right?
You might not even remember what happened, but if there's any consolation, if you get
That morning.
demolished by a train.
Yeah, dude. It's all good. So they're talking right now.
My mom had a feeling there was going to be an accident, so
Your mom's psychic.
Happened. Yeah. So
I believe it.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's why I don't drive. If I do drive, I don't drive very fast anymore. Even though it was not my fault, and his insurance had to pay for my hospital bills, it was still scary. And I don't know. I still shouldn't have been going that fast. It was an interstate.
Yeah.
You know how you merge on it. And they.
You were kids, right? You were a kid, right?
Yeah, it was kind of lousy. But
We're younger.
Let's go. Also, you talk about YouTube. What do you like about it? Have you had fun doing it? What are some of your
okay? Here's what
of starting a YouTube channel.
Here's what I really love the most about YouTube, and it's just actually meeting people. Because I'm mostly a dude that wants to be left alone. I'm kind of smug. I kind of want to create my stuff and be left alone. But the first guy who opened me up was Easy Comic Reader, Mike, right? We were communicating on the Instagram, and he said, let's do a video call. And I'm like, all right. And then I got face-to-face time with my first YT friend. And it was a magical moment for me, man. And I was like, wow, God dang, that never happened to me before.
Hey, Pat's Comics.
Hey, there's another guy, Tap. That's synchronicity. and Damien. Those are my very first YT friends that I even just met, like hanging out with, and that only happened a couple weeks ago. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Number one, dude, it's the YouTube thing for me is about actually meeting real people, like real friends.
Yeah.
And that's my number one thing I like. But I know that for me, it's not about the big numbers, like I say, but I could still use this for my creative outlets, and I can create videos of the music, and also when I get, and I also like. Oh, another thing is my claim sales. I do once a week on Monday a claim sale, and super cheap comics, but it's almost like a fast way of trading, and I'm meeting people that way.
Yeah.
The same people are showing up, and it's like I feel like they're my close people. I would have never thought this would happen on YouTube.
I didn't either, actually. I was in a pretty bad place, so I couldn't get out of the house because they didn't build a ramp, and so this is my outlet to talk to people.
Yeah, and when I met you, Matthew, right? That was some magic moments too. Like we hit it off like that.
Yeah, and that was totally weird. I was talking to you guys on your channel. I said, "Wait a minute, Rob, did you get those books on Whatnot?"
Yeah, that's how I met you. Yeah, we were on it was my show or Rob's show. I think it was
your show. I think
Chaotic Comic Book Cover Displays and More with Friends.
Yeah.
Right? And you were on there as someone else. It wasn't Heroes for Hire. It was something else. And then Rob got comics from you from Whatnot. And then we were telling you, yeah, Matt, why don't you come onto YouTube? And then you did. And then I got to meet you, and it actually worked out. We actually hit it off like that, dude. It was crazy. It's crazy. Because I don't normally do that, dude. I'm a guarded dude. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
guarded.
I'm glad that I've met people like you, and not the negative people, because it can go either way.
Well, we can talk about that, but why go south? Why go down?
No, we're not going to talk. I was just saying that's why we don't have to worry about that.
No, it's cool. I think there's a lot of fake channels out there. I'll leave it at that. And that doesn't make me better than anybody. I'm not saying that, but
yeah,
there's a lot of fakos out there, man.
Hey, we kind of talked about a few of them, but we can elaborate. We got a comment here.
Yeah, Jeff's one of the early guys who were watching my videos before I even went live, and then he's hung with me during the live stuff. So thank you, Jeff.
That's always good to see Jeff. I always see Jeff in the chat. I like when you see all the people like, hey, they're doing okay. They're still here.
Yeah.
We kind of talked this already, but would you want to elaborate on any of your favorite artists and writers, growing up or now?
Okay, so going back, I already mentioned Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. I read the Marvel Tales during the Ditko era, where it was during the 100-something. They turned it back over from the beginning, right? So I was exposed to Ditko at that time, and I loved it. But since then, oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many that I love. The ones I really like right now, I love Jim Starlin, and I love my John Byrne, dude. I told you guys this, man. John. Okay, so when I was originally collecting, when I was a kid, the artist I could spot was John Byrne, Mike Zeck, right, and Romita, both Romitas, yeah. There's just so many now that it's all.
Hey, when you're younger, do you remember their names? Because I didn't really remember their names till I got older. This is John Byrne, or this is.
When I was younger, I knew Rick Leonardi, man, that guy's so awesome.
Yeah.
Bill Mantlo, or Frank Miller, or Chris Claremont. Yeah, we were like little nerds.
Well, what about the indies? I know you like the indies from the 80s. What do you think? What do you think of TMNT when it came out?
I never really gravitated towards them. I hear the earlier stuff is awesome before they turned it more fluffy for kids, But I remember Lone Wolf and Cub, which is a contemporary to that stuff. I remember I do remember Judge Dredd, you know, and there's so the indies from the 80s I love nowadays because I think it's a virtual gold mine there. You can just find anything from like First or Eclipse comics, in all these different Comico and stuff, and they're incredible art, incredible. Maybe even it's lowbrow art a little bit, but the stories are freaking awesome. And so why not just I'm grabbing as many as I can find nowadays. You know?
Yeah, there's more good than there is bad. There's some of it there. I mean, I've ran into some bad ones too,
but even the lowbrow stuff, I enjoy because they did something. The direct market opened up, and they were like, "Screw it, here's our chance to go in and make a comic."
Yeah,
you know? And the whole market got flooded, but.
I like all that stuff that Eclipse Comics and Pacific Comics did.
Yeah. You
know, like Alien Worlds.
Yes. I like the earlier Dark Horse. The Alien Worlds, I'm not familiar with.
And Dave Stevens did a lot of the art on the outside.
Yeah. I love Dave Stevens and Rocketeer, and there's also one. Was it Airboy? He did I got a recent cover of Airboy.
Was another one. He did one that was cover Crossfire, and he was sitting next to Elvis. That's a pretty cool cover.
Yeah, another one, George Perez, of course. You know, and
Perez.
Those Avengers and stuff. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, dude. I was more of a Marvel guy. I tried DC in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And I was reading some Firestorm and stuff like that. It was pretty good, but I didn't really connect with it until later. So I've read a lot of DC, but I'm mostly a Marvel guy. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was too. I did grow up with, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I had Superman bed sheets when I was a kid, so
yeah. And
I love DC, and but I think I gravitate more to like Wolverine and like the X-Men.
Yeah,
Punisher. I just thought they were like way cooler.
To me, the Uncanny X-Men was incredible, like because they were truly unusual. It wasn't your typical superhero fare, you know. They're just weird, and I liked it. You know, but the first issue I got, I think off the spinner rack of X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, was that cover when they were in the Morlocks, and the Angel was on the cover, and they ripped his wings and all that stuff. That stuff was really heavy to me when I was a kid.
And what I also liked was like Kitty Pryde and Jubilee. They were like kids, like our age.
Yeah.
And they were having problems, you know,
because
and they had to like go to this school or whatever, you know, and being an outcast. You know, I mean, it's what it's about, like being an outcast. I always said that Uncanny X-Men was Marvel's punk rock comic series in the 80s.
Yeah, and
in the 70s and 80s, it was just
people give you a hard time about X-Men, but it's like it was good. And the reason why Wolverine was so good is because it was a slow burn. You slowly got to know him. You know, it wasn't all at once like they try to do nowadays.
Yeah, well, they tried to give him a good backstory, you know, and thankfully, he had a lot of good artists and writers that were willing to work on it, because look at Chris Claremont. You know, he's probably I don't know if he gets enough credit for what he's done for Wolverine.
Well, I think he does. I think. Well, the thing is that Wolverine Volume 2, he didn't really write much.
No, but that was still pretty fun. The first 50 issues are still pretty good.
But when he was writing it with John Byrne and the rest of them, it was like, especially with the Byrne, it's like, who is this guy? And he was slowly revealing he had history in Japan. You know, it was slowly revealing the project in Canada. What up, Drew Manchu? You know, so it was all slow burn. So I think that's why people kept coming back for him. You know.
Yeah. Well, he made a good. He would have been a hell of a soap opera writer.
Well, yeah, all those subplots and stuff.
Yeah,
and someone likes that one.
Wolverine are in love with the same woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Wolverine's always has the worst luck with women. I mean, he can get women.
Yeah.
But he has the worst luck with women, like except maybe Matt Murdock too, because it seems like they drop like flies around Murdock. I mean, you might not want to. It's like, what was that show I watched? And he had like 5 wives. They're all dead. And I said, I don't think you want to marry them. It's probably not a good idea to date. Like, oh, it was a Death Wish. Charles Bronson's character and all.
I love.
Every movie he had a new girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
In every movie, something horrible would happen to her that would make him go back to killing people on the street.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. My wife and I, we did a short little Bronson marathon over a month or something. Really cool stuff.
You know what about Charles Bronson though? He was like one of those guys. Like, I don't know if they have guys like that in Hollywood anymore. Like, he was a legit don't mess with this guy, he'll probably mess you up.
Yeah, and he was down to earth too. He was quiet, quieter, and we need more actors like that. Everything's over the top now, Not with him though, but he was really convincing, Yeah,
it was like what was it last night? Or I was talking with Kevin, Random Reeds. Shout out to Random Reeds.
Yeah, dude, cool dude.
He was played a clip from Dirty Harry. He's like, so did I fire 5 shots or 6?
Yeah,
and he's like, I just like that kind of. I don't know. I always like Dirty Harry.
Well, that they actually during the X-Men cartoon, they actually lifted from Dirty Harry. Wolverine actually said that. They paraphrased the same lines. Isn't that crazy?
And he also, there's like, because I've heard his line, Wolverine always had the famous line, I'm the best in the world at what I do, and what I do is not very nice,
Yeah.
And CM Punk kind of stole that part, because he said, I'm the best in the world at what I do. And he got that straight from that.
Yeah, dude. And there was always that internal conflict with him, and he was a brutal killer. And he didn't have memories of all the evil. He doesn't have the memories of that. It's just a complex character, a cool character.
Drew makes a good point.
BWS really made Wolverine. Yeah, Barry Windsor Smith. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, but it was great though. Like I like that whole background origin, like where he's like, he was like a cop or something, right? And or he was working somewhere and they kidnapped him for this government like experiment, right?
Yeah.
They knew he could heal or whatever. No, they didn't know he could heal. They knew he was a mutant though. So they grab him and they didn't know his main mutant power was being able to heal whenever he's injured.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, we could do that. That's some of the great storylines ever. Remember when the doctor, you think like, oh no, Logan's coming out of it. Like he's going to realize he's in this simulation, right? And he finds out that he's already still in a simulation, and then he has to get out of that simulation. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the wild art too, and all that coming out of that. And I'm glad you actually sent me that trade.
Yeah,
the trade. So
I got through reading, and I said, you know what? I said I was trying to send everybody a Christmas present. The only problem was I couldn't get Roberts out because Cheap Comic Collector. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
I can't find. It's like a big coffee table book of like Mad Magazine, and I can't find a box to put it in.
Oh man!
But I'm going to get it to him.
I love Rob. Rob got me into the claim sales, and Rob was one of the first guys that was being cool to me and stuff. And when I was dropping those videos, and I would shout him out. And I remember when he first started his claim sales, and so. And he asked me to advertise for him, so I did.
Yeah.
It's good memories, dude, and it's all recorded on YouTube, man. It's pretty awesome, dude.
For posterity, right? Or posterity.
It's all there.
I said posterity. I said like a prostate, but I was thinking about something. Posterity, yeah. Posterity. I'm sorry. All right. Sometimes everything goes off the rails, but it's okay.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, well, you collect anything? We'll wind it down. We'll let the chat ask some questions here too if they want to get their questions out there. But I'll ask you real quick: do you collect anything else besides comics?
Not really, dude. I mean, I was doing the albums thing for a while, but then I stopped that. And I have a whole pile of VHS tapes, crazy stuff. I don't know if you heard of that movie, for instance, like God Told Me To. It's like an old, obscure 70s movie.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
People are doing weird stuff because God told them to. And I have, what was that movie with David Bowie? I can't believe I can't remember. But I have VHS tapes I was collecting. The David Bowie was a vampire. It was about blood and the Bauhaus.
The Hunger.
Yeah, the Hunger. Bauhaus was in the beginning of it. So I have that. So I was doing, like Joe, Crazy Joe. But I don't really collect anything other than comics these days. I just love it. I just love it's irrational. I have comics all over the place.
I've unfortunately started looking into I've been looking into the G.I. Joe action figure business.
I would put stuff on the walls, but my wife doesn't want it on the walls. And when I have my own room, then I could trick it out. Like a lot of my friends have a tricked out room, so I'll probably do that someday and collect figures and all that stuff, But for now, this is what we get.
Yeah, Bowie, no equal. Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
Hey, Mr. Mars, I got a question.
The most I've spent on a comic. I'm not a big spender, but back in the day, what a lot was to me was $60, and I bought The Death of Green Goblin, and recently I've been buying Spidey comics around that. I'm eyeballing 300, but I haven't spent. I'm not a slabber, in other words. I know people spend a lot of money on the slabs, but I don't. I'm itching my way there, but right now I'm mostly cheap comics, just buying freaking tons of comics.
The highest I've ever spent would be like $100 on like something that was. I got Batman 404 signed by Frank Miller.
Yeah,
so I paid like $120 for it or something.
Yeah, I've spent over $100 like on the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, and so I was into Star Wars for a while, but most of my stuff, the next ones I want to get are the first appearance of Hobgoblin, and I want to get 300. So I'm starting to save for that, instead of buying the huge hauls. That's what I normally do, just buy hauls and grab them that way.
Yeah, I've tried to do like Whatnot, and I do go out some places. I don't really get many comic shops around here.
Yes, but I don't have comic shops around me, so they're like 40-minute drive in any direction, even if it's a half-price book. So I do a lot. I used to order on mycomicshop.com, and before that, Midtown. I did that for years.
I got to go. Well, I did get to go on this past week. It was that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, there's some I want to save for. They're going to be more than $100 probably if I want. I guess depending on the grade. But like,
I sold my first appearance of Spider-Gwen, right, for $500 during that height.
Yeah, you need to sell that Jeff the Landshark one you got.
No, I have that one. Yeah, the first Jeff the Landshark.
It's hot right now.
If I like a character, I don't care if it's. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna get rid of it.
We shouldn't unless you had. I mean, if you could if you wanted to.
Well, I'm pissed off because of 2008, and I sold all my stuff. So it's like, if I like it, I'm keeping it.
Did you have all that Fallout stuff with Miles Morales?
No, I don't actually.
Yeah,
I have the facsimile.
Yeah, that's what I want to get. Probably the facsimile. If I run across one, I'd get it. But I almost got that one that cheap comic collector. But I was like, I couldn't justify spending that.
Yeah, Easy Comic Reader had a copy, and he sent it to Cheap Comic Collector. I remember that.
I couldn't. I was like, I can't do it. If it gets over $50, I get nervous about buying it. I don't know why.
The first appearance of Apocalypse, I bought in X Factor there. I got both the direct and newsstand and those were like $40 each or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the highest I paid for a Robert was I paid $75 for a Wolverine issue 8, the John Buscema.
Oh yeah,
fix it cover.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think recently I got the volume 1 issue 1 of Punisher, but I get it from my comic book dealer, and so I think I didn't pay top dollar for that. I got all the volume 1 Wolverines and Frank Miller from him, so I do spend money, but I don't think in terms of that. I have a whole bunch of money. I go to my comic dealer and I buy a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of it goes to my PC, and then I do claim sales with the rest of it, So I guess I'm semi-retired, so I could have this mentality, So
it's all good, man. It's good to be at least semi-retired.
Yeah, I still work. It gets busy for me at work, but yeah, I'm just having fun. I count my blessings. I'll tell you that.
We all should. So I mean, we could, like we said earlier, you very well could not be here.
Right? Yeah.
We zigged instead of zagged, baby.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, dude. My first Fantastic Four comic I ever read was the Doctor Doom John Byrne ripping through the cover like that. And so that was like you got to see how he was more than just a villain. He was running Latveria, There was some depth to that issue before he opened up a can of whoop ass onto Fantastic Four in the following arc. But the defeat wasn't complete without Reed Richards being around. And I'll never forget that, man. That's such an impression on me,
As long as I can sniff 70s comics with great art, I'm happy. There you go.
Dude, I love the scent of the newsprint.
You can't smell it, but I got here. This will make you feel better. From the 70s.
Yeah, dude. That's what I go after. Bronze now. I really do. Whenever I see it.
Well, they don't make it like this anymore. Look at that,
dude. Yeah, Kazar. We love Kazar. Savage Land. I didn't know they were in Antarctica until I started rereading some of that classic.
Yeah, it's underground or something, right?
Well, it's in. They're covered in. Yeah. It was. Where time forgot this land. So.
Yeah, I just like all that. Like, we were talking about this before it went on about new comics. I like the new stories, but I'm thinking about getting a tablet and just reading them online.
Well, my whole thing about the new comics is like, yeah, this is so awesome. The series always starts well, but rarely ends well, or it lands on it's like whatever, I respect the Wednesday Warriors, right? They go out and they love it, and they could tell you everything about these titles, and comics are better than ever. But I'm just not there. I'm kind of burnt out on modern comics after reading them for 20 years. I'm going after the older stuff where it takes a little longer to read, but the stories stay with you. Bless you. And thanks for doing this, Matthew. Thanks for doing. I know you didn't feel good today, but you did this anyway, like a trooper.
I'm not feeling too well, but I got to go back to the doctor Thursday. Hopefully, it's not something too bad. So
yeah, dude.
Like, I don't want to get on the detail, but
yeah, serious stuff, dude.
Well, I guess we're going to sign off. I need to go to the bathroom anyway. So,
you guys, thanks for showing up today, man. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been a good show. Yeah, it's a nice comic. But I have the claim sale tomorrow at 9:00.
Awesome.
Maybe just an hour. So stop by if you want to. If you can't watch it, just watch the replay.
You rock too, Missing Mars.
It's going to be like some of the same stuff. Somebody show up, but if they don't, it's all good. We'll just hang out and talk about comics. Who knows? But Aaron, I'm going to let you tell us what you got coming up.
So on Friday, I guess Jim's doing a claim sale. So you guys check out Sandman Mystery Comics on Friday. I might jump in there, but probably not, you guys. I'm working on an album, and that's taking a lot of my time. Plus, I'm busy with the wife and at work, and that's why I haven't been on YouTube that much. But I'm going to do this album, and I'm going to release it soon, and I'm going to start doing my videos again. I'm going to start rolling out what I've read, and stuff like that, the fun stuff, But other than that, Mondays 3 p.m. Pacific, I do my claim sale, and I really appreciate everyone that shows up. That's always a blast. So Mondays, you guys, if you want to check it out, check me out, man. 3 p.m. Pacific, so like 5:36, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it as well. I can't wait to hear this album. But everybody, until I guess, true believers, until next time.
Thank you, Matthew, for doing this, man.
Thank you for coming on. We'll leave you with this message.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snitchy boochies.